Bowden went away. He put 3 lengths on them, 4, 5 lengths in front. Have a look at Bowden, way too good. He's a wonderful animal, this.
Christmas at the races, is there anything better? We had some great crowds on course yesterday across Te Rapa and Awapuni, and it was a great celebration of all things horse racing. I've got 2 special guests on the show with me this morning. My regular co-host, Michael Guerin. Very good morning to you.
Morning, Em, and Em are here today. There's 2 Michaels for you this morning. Thank you for joining us on a Sunday morning. I know it's a busy time of year, so you've got lots of other things to do, but gee, it was good yesterday. Te Rapa had that real vibe, but I didn't see a lot of the action from Awapuni because I was busy doing some other things. But Te Rapa had a really big day at the office. And I think that's important for the club there. They've had a rocky last couple of years with some of their big days with weather-wise and stuff. But yesterday they got it right. So congratulations to Te Rapa on their huge Waikato Cup day.
It was a great day. Southland as well actually had a fantastic crowd on course as well. Our other guest on the show is Michael Coleman. Michael, will say welcome back to you. And how was your day at the races yesterday?
Yeah, I didn't really feature in the big stuff yesterday, but we were there and trying. But I was just saying before, it's great to be going to races and a bit of atmosphere and good crowds. It makes a lot of difference to us going out there and having a lot of people out there, fans and that sort of thing. So it's great. And Waikato did it well yesterday, and so did Tauranga on Friday as well. So good atmosphere, and looking forward to a bit more of it over Christmas.
Just a question for you, Mickey, on that. I've always wondered this. Can you hear the crowd much when you're riding? I presume when you come down the home straight in a staying race, can you hear the yelling and stuff? Does it change the dynamic of the day for you?
No, we don't really notice the crowd, or we don't even notice the commentator. You've really got to tune in to hear the commentator and that sort of thing, or the crowd. But most of the time we're flat out, hard out in the home straight, so we just not aware of the crowd going off or whatever.
Interesting.
We're going to be getting into the Christmas spirit on the show today as well, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But first, of course, we've got to review yesterday's racing, and we'll start off with the Sky City Hamilton Waikato Cup.
Sorry that you can't keep up. You're looking like you did too much. Boy, act right, 'cause it's cool. It's just too much south.
It's still Just Amaze, the local. Leads a length and a half on Macedo. Then came Vinda Dance and Dezella. Just Amaze and Sammy Spratt in front in the cup, and the local gets the cup. It'll be Just Amaze with a brilliant all-the-way win. Second over will be Macedo. Third at the line.
David Green, you've just won the Waikato Cup. Congratulations.
Pretty good, mate. Yeah, happy with that one.
Gee, gun ride. Sam Spratt was always keen to just let the horse roll to the front, like he said. Give the horse some time to reach the front, and then was able to just get everything in his own favour.
Yeah, well, that's what Sammy does so well. But once he gets onto autopilot like that, he can just string furlongs together, and you know, a bit of a kick on the way home as well. So he's a pretty good stayer, I think.
He is. I mean, in the end, it became quite a comfortable watching what he was able to do here. You were pretty comfortable coming into today, weren't you, with what you saw at Counties, that he was spot on to do the job?
Might have been comfortable for you to watch, BP. Not so much me, but yeah, he's going great, and he keeps improving, and we think he'll get 2 miles as well. So, yeah, hopefully he can keep kicking on from here.
Okay, what's the next steps? What are the next summer steps with him? I know you've been keen to win this race, but what else is on the radar?
We'll go to the City of Auckland Cup, but we seem to go terrible every time we go to Ellerslie, but we'll try again. And
well done, David.
and we'll either go Wellington Cup or freshen up and back into the Herbie Dyke with the Auckland Cup path.
Job by winning jockey Sam Spratt, congratulations. You're the toast of the Waikato.
Yeah, exactly. I say bring the cup back to the Waikato, or I don't know who we got last year, but we'll just say that.
Look, you must have been happy with how things unfolded. You were able to amble to the front and then get things all in your own favour.
Yeah, it was a little bit tardy away actually, but I didn't sort of panic, stayed the whole way down the back straight, and yeah, no, he won really nicely.
And that was the key. Nothing else wanted to really take you on.
No, and managed to get some nice sectionals. And cruise on. To me, he kicked really, really well as well. Like, he did actually show a bit of turn of foot and sprinted nicely in the straight. So, you know, with that weight on his back, it was going to be hard for anything to pick him up.
He's a nice cruisy stayer. You're able to amble along in front, and then, as he said, you're able to kick away from them. I mean, he's done a great job here.
He has, really good. And you know, No Shoe Try, but the way he's going, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't see even further. Because he does actually, even though he cruises along, he does settle nicely. But hey, I guess you don't No Shoe Try. But at this stage, I think he would see further than 2-4.
Sounds like you've got a lot of delighted owners behind us. Congratulations, Sam. Enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you.
It was a classic Sam Spratt ride, wasn't it? Got the horse into a lovely rhythm and was able to find a good kick up the straight. And Just Amaze is sort of pronouncing itself as a real up-and-coming stayer.
And again, we're seeing horses coming out of 82s into a major handicap and winning and dominating from on front, which is what In a Twinkling did at the Counties Cup 3 weeks ago. And a long way from home, as BP said, this was an easy watch because that nice cruisy section, the middle stage, they went 2.27, so they buttoned off a bit from even time, and Marcetto on its back, so it had a 20-1 chance on its back, and therefore the other favourites weren't around it. Mickey, you know this horse, clearly it's got a pretty high cruising speed.
Yeah, he showed that at Counties the start before as well. He kept up a good gallop there, and they run along at a good pace going out of the straight the first time, but down the back, Sam's been able to pull back the pedal a little bit and give him a few easy sectionals, and he was just too strong. And it was a real on-pace race. First 3 round the corner in the top 4, and Dizella come from a little bit back, further back. So probably typical of Tarapa when the rail's in and the track's firm, but David Green's done a really good job with this horse, and I did ride him last year and won a race on him, and I was second on him in the 72 2400 on the same day last year. So he's always been a bit of a hyped horse, but typical of the Guillotines, and but he's really looks like he's matured into a really nice horse.
I think for anybody, winning your hometown cup's a big deal. I mean, even if it's a $10,000 cup, it's a big deal. So for David, who is one of the prominent trainers at Tarapa, I think it's a huge deal. I mean, it's a $100,000 race, and we don't have the strongest staying ranks. I mean, races like the City of Auckland Cup, and as David suggested, the Auckland Cup now come into play. A horse who can roll along in front and be out of trouble is going to be a big threat in those races. So I think this is a horse who's arrived at this weakened staying rank scene at the moment, and pretty good fettle.
It's probably worth mentioning a couple of horses in behind, in particular a horse by the name of In a Twinkling, who's quite an enigmatic type of a galloper, and he was at his best or worst yesterday, I suppose you could say. And I just really wanted your opinion, Michael, because Michael Coleman, that is, Michael Guerin, Michael Coleman, because it's hard to be able to tell when a horse is hanging. For a punter at home watching, it is hard to tell when a horse is hanging, but there's nothing you can do, is there, when they get on that one rein? It's just so hard to navigate. Yeah,
it makes the job difficult. As you could see, Troy was in trouble a long way from home yesterday, and he's been a bit of a problem horse along the way, and he has good days and bad days, but he probably got worse when the pace came off down the back straight, and he started to hang harder and harder until he got to the middle of the track by the time he turned for home. So totally different horse that showed up in the Counties Cup last time, so looking for a bit better behaviour from him next time wherever he goes.
Yeah, not much fun for Troy. I felt for him because obviously he was just jumping on the horse as a catch ride, and he said to Jamie Richards, who I spoke to this morning, he was actually on the one rein going out of the straight the first time because he is a bit of an obstinate sort of horse, and it got worse and worse. And for favourite punters, it's brutal because he just didn't put in at all, and it just tailed off. And Jamie said, look, they know he's that sort of horse, so they're not thinking it's a big physical issue, but he was fine this morning, trotted up good, so no issues there. They're going to take him for scintigraphy, where they run the dye through their body to make sure there's nothing, troubling him, but he might need scintigraphy of the brain. They might need to just run it through his head and see what's going on in there, because he's a very quirky animal. I wouldn't be surprised if he came out and won the City of Auckland Cup next time out. Nothing would surprise me with In a Twinkling, to be honest.
Keeps us on the edge of our seats, that's for sure, doesn't he?
Well, he'll have Opie back next time, and I'm not sure Opie will be putting his hand up and saying, well, I can't wait to get back on this one.
No, he doesn't have a great relationship with him anyway. But yeah, fingers crossed In a Twinkling could be on better behaviour next time. Let's find out a little bit about those jockeys in behind our winner, Just Amaze.
Yes, no, he went a very good race, probably still 12 months away from being his best, but he had every chance, and he's kicked well.
Yeah, very good run. Really happy with it. Sort of getting up over to a trip sort of the first time, 2400. Settled beautifully, about midfield, one off. Had a perfect run, really. She's come into it good. the leader and the winner and the second horse have sort of kicked away on her, but she's challenged hard. But she's very nice staying there in the making.
Yeah, a much improved run from the horse. So running fourth was probably a bit of a step up for him and a step down in his recent past form. But yeah, it was a good run, and he feels fine, so he'll press on to other races.
And that's a natural segue into the market for the Sky City City of Auckland Cup. Option 753 if you'd like to have an early investment. You can see Bowden there, who was pretty impressive yesterday, has come right into $8. Just Amaze, another big mover as well, Michael.
Yeah, and just going through this market, spoke to some of the trainers the last couple of days. The Good Fight for Sean Ritchie is going there, so he is going there. Craig Baker, the racing manager from Ellerslie, spoke to Graham Rogerson after Bowden's win, which you'll see shortly. No guarantee he's going there. They haven't said yes or no, but there's no guarantee at $8. Just Amaze, we know, is going there. Now, most importantly, Swords Drawn is one of the top 5 in the market. It's not going to the City of Auckland Cup. So Sean's going to separate his two, and it's going to go to the Dunstan Feeds Championship final. So it won't be there. So I'd be a little bit careful about that market. When I spoke to Jamie this morning, but in a twinkling, he said because of the scintigraphy, there's also now a guarantee he'll go there, because obviously he doesn't get re-handicapped for yesterday. So he's now still in the weight band to go, but he's by no means guaranteeing he'll go to that race. So there's doubts of about 5 out of the top 10 there. So I'll just be pretty careful backing into that market, punters.
Great information there. Michael, we'll get you along to one of the other features on the programme, which was the Kalai Suzu Stakes. And, of course, it was a really dominant win by the Real Beal.
The 250 Queen of Diamonds over on the inside has a narrow lead from Lady Cartel. Contessa Vanessa, the Real Beal. And behind them running out of Red Red Sky. Nine News is still there. And out wide, Pin Me Down and Galata. And the Real Beal bursting through in the centre. The Real Beal, I reckon's got there. There's a line-up for the Miners.
What a win. I mean, very good trial. Very good in a Group 1 earlier last season. And today she gets the Group 2.
It's just amazing. I just good, for Gary to give her back to me. I was just absolutely rapt, because she didn't have a lot of luck in Australia. She came back and I think she's in foal. But for Gary to give her back to me, was just amazing. And she's been a funny little girl. I had to change around to a few boxes until she was happy and comfortable. And my son, he does all the work on her, You look at him and you see the size of him and you think, God, But he does all her work, and he just loves her, and she gets on so well with him,
Craig Girls, congratulations. You got a good run in transit, and she had a lot of horse when she came across heels.
Yeah, she travelled brilliant. Talking to Jim before the race, and as she said after she trialled the other day, she's only got a real short sprint, so don't want to be getting there too soon. So probably worked out quite good getting held up for a little bit, so she didn't get there soon. But once she got out, she's got a wicked turn of foot on her, and she's a tough little mare too. She's not very big, but she tries,
You knew a little bit more about her coming into the race because you did trial the horse most recently, and she came underneath you nicely in that trial.
She gave me a really good feel in that trial at Tiara the other week. She sort of settled back, got her to settle back, and she came down the outside and beat not a bad lot there, so doing it reasonably easy. So, but I've got to take my hat off to Jim Pender and his team, because to get a win fresh up over a mile, it's a pretty good effort.
A great story around this horse. It's been to Australia, it's come back, and fantastic to see Jim Pender and the team get a stakes win. It's just a lovely little story, wasn't it?
It's a complicated story. There's lots of moving parts to it. I've written them all down here. I remember looking at her as a yearling. Andrew Forsman and I went and looked at her because we wanted a Savabeel, and she was quite an angular. So she wasn't very impressive at all. She wasn't like a lot of those Waikato stud fillies who were really nice and big and mature. And we passed on, and she went for 110, and Tiaka ended up with it. She won fresh up, and then that didn't work out there, so she ended up going to Jim Pender's, and of course last year pushed Longleaf to a head in the Karaka Classic, and you thought, oh well, that was her day in the sun, and she almost won at $126. Then went to Australia, and Gary Chittick bought her because the mare Ana, who she's out of, died, so they wanted to keep this back in the family. Yeah, so they bought her, and look, you've got to take your hat off to Gary, because he's obviously a powerful man in racing. He could have a horse anywhere he wants to have a horse. And he said to Jim Pender, well, you can have this horse back. And now she's 51 days since she was sued by Tavachi, so she can race up to 120 days. So they got the option to go to maybe the Westbury Classic at the Karaka Classic meeting, which she ran second last year. But I think it's great that he's gone back to Jim Pender because it could have gone to a bigger stable, and Jim obviously thrilled about it. So
she sounds quite quirky though, from what he was saying. She's settling into the different boxes, and he tried her in a few. But that's a smaller stable. You're able to do that, aren't you? You're able to sort of give the horses that personal touch, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. She probably didn't thrive in the big stable at Te Akau and moved to Jimmy. It's great to see Jimmy have a good win yesterday. He's a battler, and he's only got a small team of horses, and it's probably been a while since his last big win, probably Ginga Dude maybe in the Japan-New Zealand race maybe. But great to see. He's a good personality, great guy. So she did a good job yesterday. Grillsy gave her a nice ride, and she just produced the goods on the day. So good to see.
It got pretty tight here. Mickey, what do you make of this? He comes across heels Grillsy and just gives a little bump there to Hinarangi, but I don't think it was too bad though.
Well, it just appeared that Craig had to make a little bit of room for himself just to get through that gap, and I was probably a little bit surprised that there was nothing in the Stipe support, that the connections with Gallardo might have wanted to wish to view the film because, you know, the Real Bill has shifted Hinarangi out and onto Gallardo, and there's been some contact there, so it wasn't a big margin, so I thought there might have been some grounds for a protest there.
Just with her, obviously, she infolded to Tavachi, and she's going to be joining the Broodmere band, so she's probably gone full circle from Waikato back around, and like a lot of studs, they like to buy back into their own families. But as I said, I think it's a real tick for Gary Chittick. That's to give that horse back to Jim Pender when it could have gone to anybody. Could have gone back to Te Akau.
He says Gary hasn't got a heart, eh?
Well, he's got a heart, and he's got a really nice mare now too. She's a Group 2 winner, so it's smart business.
I'm sure that was a huge sigh of relief yesterday when she got that black type win on her card with a $25 winner. Of course, we had plenty of.
You raised a very good point there.
Yes.
We don't often spruik our own tipsters, but Brendan Popplewell tipped us out at $51.
I know.
We've got to give him some raps for that. Well done to you, VP.
Yeah, we do. We have some rap shortly.
Oh,
but, yeah.
We have a rap. Like we're going to rap about it.
I'm going to rap now.
Oh, this will be good.
I'm not that. You know, I'll just stick to talking. No raps. We're going to get you to the beaten jockeys. Let's have a look at that.
Yeah, Gallardo, top run. I drew wide and I was caught 3 wide the trip. Able to get a little bit of cover from the 700 to the corner. She's let down really big and only been beaten a long neck after doing a lot of work. Game effort.
Yeah, it was a very good run considering the mile's probably a little bit short for her now, and left-handed isn't her best way to go.
Yeah, it was a bit of a bugger. I think she was certainly beat and just had nowhere. All I needed was just a little needle-eye bit more room where I could have got my shoulder, and I probably would have been able to push the other one out to get through the gap, but gap just didn't open up to the last minute. It went from sort of thinking it was a great ride to I wish I was actually 3 wide.
Yeah, it was a bit of a funny run. I thought I had them shot to bits at the 200. I sort of had half-by weighted for her, and she didn't accelerate from there to the line like I thought she would have. She sort of just battled, but all in all, it wasn't a bad run, but yeah, she probably shouldn't have got swamped by the others.
Beaten jockeys there from the Kalai Suzu Stakes. There was one other feature on the programme, and it was the J-Swap Contractors Sprint. And of course, it was good to see Julius back in prime form. And Julius, ridden by Jason Waddell, and an emotional John Bell as well.
And behind these, Campari as they turn for home, followed by Watch This Space, Mongolian Marshall, Scott Base down the outside, and then Piorina at the 250. Donovan Billy from Tinkalicious. Julius is about a length away at this stage. He's looking to put in now, the big fella. Coming on late is Watch This Space. It's Donovan Billy. Julius ranging up on the outside. Donovan Billy. Julius puts his nose in front. He's home. Julius. Oh, he's a marvel. Julius won it.
Jason Waddell. How good's that? I mean, I've just spoken to a very emotional John Bell. This means a lot to a lot of people.
Sure does. What a fantastic job they've done to get him back. You know, I ride him work 5 times a week. You know, he's my best mate. He's arrogant to a point where he tows me around the track every morning. But you know, we love him to bits. John and his team have done a fantastic job nursing him back, the vets and everything. And you know, I reckon he's probably as sound as he's ever been. I really wanted him to win this race today. So he got an extra kilo for the railway, which makes my job just a touch easier.
Jason Waddell, their winning jockey on Julius, and there's lots of people to highlight in this, because to get a horse back to peak form following any injury is difficult enough, but to then take out a stakes race, he's such a big horse. You can see why he maybe does have those small little injury niggles, but when he's good, he's really good.
Yeah, and hey, you're right, he's massive, but he also carried a big weight, 60 kgs. It's a lot of weight to carry to win a decent race. And Jay Waddell's in really good form at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a really good carnival. Just looking forward to the railway market, because he was in the market, but obviously, because it's set weights and penalties, obviously the black type's crucial. So he wasn't guaranteed a start till yesterday, even though he thought he was going to be in. Now, he is in now, so clearly he'll start, and for that reason, he's going back from 1400 to 1200, but they've got 2.5 weeks to freshen him up. Looking at this page, most of these, of the trainers I've spoken to, are going to. I spoke to Bob Vance during the week, it's Destiny's Child's a yes. Carly spoke to Pikey this morning, it's a yes. Spring Heat is the one who I don't think's guaranteed a start, but most of that page you can expect to see there. Now, this is interesting. Mr. Universe, you're going to see shortly, won really well yesterday at Awapuni. He's not guaranteed a start. Now, he doesn't have the black type form to get in. Jamie Richards also spoke to this morning to update an Avantage, going to the Hallmark on Boxing Day, but not guaranteed to go to this race either. So I would be very careful around him. Endless Drama is a yes, but Mr. Universe is the horse who, even though it was super yesterday, may not get in. Media Sensation, I spoke to Peter Williams, it's going, so that'll be your ride.
Yeah, she's looking good. She's galloping between races at Ellerslie today, so she looks like she's coming up really good, and her both runs have been really good. She probably paraded a bit above herself at Pukekohe, so she's going to improve with the run, and I'm really happy to be riding in the railway. I think she's a top chance. Like Julius, and with a bigger gap, back from 14 to 12, is that any concern? I think the 12 will suit. It'd be great if we draw a nice barrier, so they'll make the job a little bit easier, but back to 1200 is going to suit her. I think she really is a 12 or 1400 metre horse, but I think 12 is really right up her alley at this stage.
I just want to ask you about the track yesterday there, because there was an incident late in the day, which we'll get to in a second. How firm did the track feel to you?
Look, I didn't have my first ride till race 6 yesterday, and the track had apparently had firmed up quite a bit from early in the day, and it was firm, it was a good 3, but I didn't think it was rock hard and going to be a prejudice to most horses, but there's probably the odd horse that was looking for a little bit more sting out of the track, and might not have suited the odd one, but I thought summer racing, firm track.
There was a strange incident yesterday. So Intrigue was one of the favourites for the last on the card, and went to the races with Tony Pike. And Tony rang Bart Cowan, the track manager, in the morning and said, how's the track? And he said, good 3, and we're expecting it to hold at a good 3. They got there during the day and it was windy and there was a fair bit of sun, so therefore, in Pikey's opinion, talking to some of the other jockeys, he thought it might have got to a good 2, and he thought that would not be advantageous for Intrigue. He didn't want to risk his horse, and he thought she wouldn't let down, so he didn't want punters to lose their money. Went to the stewards and said, we're going to scratch. They said, you can't scratch because we haven't changed the track conditions, so it's what's called an unauthorised scratching. Now, he scratched the horse, as this is right, and got fined $350. I understand the stewards are doing their job, but I don't think that rule's right. Now, I understand why the rule's there. The rule is there so if I've got a horse and I'm hungover, I can't be stuffed going to the races, I can't just scratch it willy-nilly. I respect the rule. But I think if a senior trainer turns up to the races and the horse is there and he's got a whole bunch of other horses and he makes a judgment call for the benefit of punters and for horses, and his horse in particular, I think sometimes there has to be some latitude there to say, okay, well, you're doing this for the right reasons. Now, $350 isn't going to change Tony Pike's life, I realise that. But I also don't want trainers going to the races and saying, I don't want to cop the $350, it's not my horse, I'll race it, and then me, punter or punter at home, backs it and loses their money. Or the horse, obviously more importantly, pulls up sore and loses it.
When the trainer fully knew that the horse wasn't going to let down.
I think everybody watching the show knows Tony Pike hasn't got to the races and thought, well, I can't be stuffed settling this up, I'm not going to start. He's done it for the right reasons. And
if
I think
you paid the float fee there,
exactly.
you're not going to wear...
Exactly, there's nothing here which is untoward. I think there should be some latitude there that people need to respect. And I think it happened to David Howarth last week at Wellington as well. And it's As a punter, I want that protection. I want somebody looking after me. I could have backed Intrigue yesterday, and I didn't because it was scratched. So I'm not saying it was a good 2, I don't know, but if you're not going to check the track between 7:30 in the morning and do another pentometer reading, how do you technically know what it is? So I think it's a complicated one, but I do think you need to respect particularly senior trainers or trainers who have come there in good faith with other horses and said this is not in the best interest of the horse or the punters. I think Tony Pike did the right thing yesterday, and I don't think he deserved to be fined for that.
No, good point, Michael. We're going to get you off to a break here on Weigh In, and when we come back, we're going to have a look at the Eulogy Stakes. But for now, we're going to leave you with that wrap that we promised for Brendan Popplewell.
Happy to go each way all day on the 11, the real Bill Aidan.
Geez, you needed some units on that one, BP. Well, that's an interesting selection. And obviously beat Volpe like you say, at the trials. Really nicely found, loving what you're doing there too.
And the real Bill bursting through in the centre. The real Bill, I reckon's got there.
Get more bottles, these bottles are lonely. It's a moment when I show up, God, I'm saying wow.
Out then Colsey, then beyond the foot, Bowden. Bowden sprinted hard. Bowden went away. He put 3 lengths on them, 4, 5 lengths in front. Have a look at Bowden, his first middle distance attempt, galloping straight and true and way too good. Beyond the foot, second, Polsey third, and then we had Bronze Steel behind them, Peso. Artiste was the next.
It was a pretty exciting win by Bowden on the programme at Aupuni, and another horse who's announcing himself as a really promising stakes type of a horse. But there was something that happened at the start of this race that makes the win even more impressive. Have a little look at the horse highlighted, just 3 from the inside, and have a little look at this. Incredible that Ryan Elliott managed to stay on. The horse managed to stand up, and then he went on to go and absolutely blitz them.
Then beyond the foot, Bowden. Bowden sprinted hard. Bowden went away. He put 3 lengths on them, 4, 5 lengths in front. Have a look at Bowden, his first middle distance attempt, galloping straight and true and way too good. Beyond the foot, second, Polsey third.
Talk us through that.
Oh, he's knuckled over at the start for a few strides. I thought I was going for all money, but he's picked himself up, and he ended up back in the field. Had to be patient and wait for him, the gaps to open, and he's burst through. And first look at 2,000 metres looks promising.
Okay, might have been a blessing you knuckled over, because he probably would have been in front on such a slow tempo early. Yeah,
I was hoping to be in the front and just let him bowl along, but the 2 girls were in front dilly-dallying around, and it was probably best thing for him going to a staying prospect, but it's really good.
Okay, going forward, there's a couple of decent sort of staying races at Ellerslie. Is he up to that sort of Group 1 company?
Oh, his first go at 2,000 metres here today. Roger's going to have to talk to the owner, Joe Negan, and see what their plans are.
It was a great win by Bowden, as we saw earlier. The stumble out of the gates, it's quite common for horses to do that, but it was good horsemanship for Ryan to stay on.
Yeah, it was good skills by both horse and rider to recover so quickly and put themselves back in the race. So I did it on St Emilion a few weeks ago, and he came out 100 metres behind them. So yeah, they did really well. So good patient ride by Ryan again. He's riding really well at the moment. He seems to, just be able to sit back and take inside runs, and he just seems to be able to find the gaps at the right time. So he's going really well, Ryan. But the horse has stepped up nice, 2 good ones. Eagle Technology last start as well, so horse is going really good.
What do you make of that, Mickey? When a horse stumbles out of the gate, or what more commonly is slow from barrier 1 or 2, and so often we see jockeys punch up, and so often it doesn't seem to work when it happens. When a horse is a stride slow, are you better to regather it and let it get back into its rhythm, or do you sometimes think, I don't want to lose the advantage of an inside draw, get pushed back and still try and get it to accelerate through? What's your general attitude to when things don't go well at the start?
Well, that's the great thing at inside draws. If you are a little bit tardy away or fractionally slow, that you can still take advantage and just be able to use your horse a little bit to recover and put yourself back in the race. Whereas if you draw wide and you don't begin very well, you're pushing things uphill. So inside draws are great, as long as they're not missing a kick by a good length or something, and you've really got to use them up, punch them up and getting them over racing. But if you're fractionally so from inside gate, you can still use that to your advantage and still get your horse to relax.
You mentioned Ryan being in really good form. He rode beautifully on Saturday night and on Thursday night and again on Friday. Do you feel that sometimes? Do you feel like I'm in form and I'm feeling good about things and therefore the horses go for me better? Or is that a myth we as punters believe? Or does your confidence going to the races some days transfer through the reins?
Oh, definitely. Once your confidence is up, everything just seems to fall into place. And Ryan's got onto a bit of a roll, and he did ride really well on Thursday night. He's been riding Alizé really well. He took some inside runs, and the gaps came at the right time for him. And he's just shown that he's not long out of his time, and he's starting to show a little bit of maturity, and he's got a long way to go. But he's a very promising rider, and he does really well with his weight because he's such a tall guy. But he's got a good future ahead of him if he can control his weight.
Does it go the other way? Do you have moments where you're not feeling it and you're not feeling confident and it just feels like I can't see where the next winner's coming from, and the horses don't feel like they're running for you? Is it like that as well? Because punters have this perception that happens, but is that reality?
No, it definitely happens. I think everybody's been through a slump at some stage in their career, or things just not quite falling into place, whether you're carrying an injury or getting suspended a lot, and sometimes things just don't fall into place and you're just waiting for something to happen where it can just turn it all around. So normally if you just find a nice horse coming out of the trials and you can follow it through, it just gets the ball rolling again.
Can turn things around, and then you never know what's going to be on the horizon. There was another stakes race on the card at Awapuni, or one stakes race on the card even, and it was the Lawn Master Eulogy Stakes, and it was taken out by Lilakoi.
Manchu raising another effort on the inside, but it's Lilakoi, and Lilakoi's racing away with the Eulogy. Lilakoi to win it. Second, very close. Manchu with the lead.
Looked pretty much like everything went to plan.
Yeah, it did. I didn't think there was going to be much speed in the race, which she wasn't, so I was lucky enough to get in the 1-1, and she was there to strike on the corner.
She sprinted nicely when you are.
Yeah, she's a really nice filly. Obviously, when you get the blue and white colours on, you're pretty excited. They've always got nice horses, but yeah, she's a nice big horse. Still probably a little bit raw, but she had some power in that finish.
A nice win by Lilakoi, and looks like a horse that is on the up. I've got a little fun fact for you about Lilakoi.
Here we
go.
So
I thought, what does Lilakoi mean? It's an odd name. So I googled Lilakoi, and it's a yellow species of passion fruit. And then I thought, what does the dam is called Barbadine? Where do they come up with yellow species? I'm sure they don't enjoy eating passion. Where's this come from? Barbadine is basically a passion flower. So there you go, there's a link.
You had a busy day yesterday, clearly. Yeah.
Actually, this morning. It was this morning I did that. I was up nice and early getting my research in.
Do come out Pinkaro with some really good names. I'm sure Sir Peter doesn't come up with them. I'm pretty sure that actually Victoria Vela comes up with most of them.
It's an art. It's
really, they've got some great names for some of their horses because obviously they're well-travelled people, and there's some really cool semi-Italian sort of names turning up. But what a good home she's going to have to go to. I mean, obviously, Group 2 winner now, I think it was yesterday, or Group 3, one of the other.
Group 3, yeah.
Group 3, lots ahead of her, wonderfully bred. So. Yeah, and I believe Pinkaro or Sir Peter, I'm not sure under exactly who it was, have also bought shares in Super Seth, the new Waikato stud stallion. Yep. So who knows? I'm getting ahead of myself here, but maybe Lilakoi and Super Seth will one day have a date.
Passion fruit in her.
A passion fruit and Seth. Here's Alaloon, who got too far back in this, and there was not enough tempo for her to get into the race.
She quite wanted to be there.
No.
She sort of had her head up a little bit in the closing stages. I wasn't sure if she'd entirely let down to the best of her
She's
ability.
a quirky thing. Even when she won at Te Rapa last time, she was all over the place. But clearly the motor's pretty big. But again, getting back to the jockey's stance on things, Mickey, when they start to get a bit running around and they put their heads on the side and stuff, what do? Do you have a growl at them? Can you give them a tap? I mean, what can you do to try and get them to concentrate at full speed when they're not concentrating? Because we saw one a couple of weeks ago at Ellerslie with Grillsy and Dragon Leap, and there doesn't appear to be too much you can do when you're going full speed.
Yeah, it's not easy at times, but yeah, sometimes you just got to try and gather them up and rebalance them, and hopefully they'll change into the right gear and get on the straight and narrow again. But you've got to be a little bit worried about Alaloon. You know, her racing pattern's not great, getting back all the time, and just chopped and changed legs a few times in the straight yesterday and wanted to get in. So, you know, whether she really likes the firmer tracks might be a little bit of an issue too. But you know, she really hasn't come up to the form that she really showed as a 2-year-old last year, and probably she should have run second yesterday, and she didn't quite finish it off the last bit.
Is there anything in behind Lilikoi that, outside of Alaloon, obviously, that we wanted to take away? Manchu was honest, and
can run on the speed, and now gets that Group 3 placing. I think we've really diluted the 3-year-old stocks. We've got the Selva from Ellerslie tonight again, so we've had about 6 or 8 really good 3-year-old races in the space of a month, and once you start doing that, you're starting to get down to, you know, fractions of a crop. And obviously lots of the good fillies haven't come back from Riccarton yet and come back up again. But I think the winner's a pretty good horse.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she'll continue through a carnival, one would think, and get more black type potential from there. But yeah, Manchu's really honest. Lance's team's turning around. But yeah, I'll agree with Mickey. Alaloon was too short. There was a lot of stuffing around at the start of the race. They had to replate a horse, and it just felt icky.
The Baker Forsman, who ended up coming third, actually.
Yeah. So it was one of those races where just at the start I was like, God, you don't want to be on these things now.
Yeah.
Fillies in the gates and out of the gates and all that mucking around. But maybe the beaten jockeys can tell us a bit more.
Really happy with the run. She's jumped the gates really well. First time over a mile, and she's come back to run second. Really happy with her.
Yeah, just probably a little bit too far back, was very awkwardly away with her behaviour problems in the barriers today. I'm not sure what that was all about, because as far as I knew, she was quite a nice, quiet filly, and she paraded really well and was fine walking around there. Once she got into those barriers, she played up fairly highly, and she did lose a shoe too before the start. So probably not bad. She was feeling the track a little bit, but she got home very well.
She's run a race before she's even gone in the gates. 20 minutes around there, it's not really helped her. She's still back in the field in a slow tempo. She's looped in like she's going to do something, but she just didn't have that ping off the corner like she should do. Just run a race.
No, real good effect, you know, like my intention just like when 700 just keep rolling, you know, she's just one pace, like, but now she's stuck on quite good, and she's still been learning, you know, she's quite green, because when 400 meters kick, and I thought, oh, definitely I'm be top 2 or top 3, you know, like, but once past other horses, just a bit more start looking around, so hopefully next time Blinker and CB spot on.
That was the beaten jockeys from the Eulogy Stakes. That takes us to the Levin Classic market. And Michael, last week we promised we were going to go through this and see who was going and who wasn't going, and you've done the hard yards.
Here we go. Rio Dini spoke to Nigel Tiley. Will go if he's happy after the Auckland Guineas, which is on January the 1st. Spoke to Pam Gerard yesterday. Harlech is going to the Uncle Remus on Boxing Day, and yes, this is his big aim. It's a Group 1, and he's a colt, so therefore they want him. So yes, Harlech, most likely Rio Dini if he's good. Dragon Leap, no. Both Lance O'Sullivan and Andrew Scott yesterday, no. They're going to the Auckland Guineas Jan 1, then they're aiming at the Derby, don't want to go to Trentham. Loire, very doubtful from Tony Pike, also no for Carly, heading to the Railway. Probabella's not going there. She is going January 4th to Awapuni before she heads to the Karaka Classic. Sherwood Forest is 50-50 to go at best. Pikey's going to look at this sort of information and see who is going and who isn't going and make his decision. Jennifer Eccles, no. She'll head to the Ladies' Mile on Boxing Day, then probably she's going to Trentham for one race. That's the Desert Gold, so she is doubtful at best. So what does all this mean for you? It means that if you're betting into this race, you can back Harlech. Rio Dini you should hold off on till January the 1st, but Harlech is the one horse who's definitely going to head there, all things going well, after the Uncle Remus. And for that reason, with a heap of no's in there, this race is going to fall away, and that $6 for him is very sexy.
There you go. And the Telegraph market, we can have a little look at that now as well, just while we're doing some of these features. The JRNN Burkett Telegraph. Option 879 if you want to have an investment, but who are we investing on?
The big news obviously during the week, Catalyst was in this market at 2.5, and Clayton Chipperfield's been very good with the media and said, I'm going to keep informing you where I'm going. He's not going there. Okay. So he comes out of the race and he heads to the Mr. Tiz on Karaka Million night, January 25. So no Catalyst, he makes his Ellerslie debut. Spoke to Tony Pike this morning. Bostonians just back in work. They are thinking yes, but it's not a hard yes. Media sensation, well, obviously we'll know after the railway. Avantage is going to go to the Hallmark on Boxing Day. The railway's still a very small possibility, but Jamie's thinking Hallmark and into this race. She has a track gallop during the week, but Avantage, yes, for the Telegraph. Princess Kiruru, obviously, is heading to Ellerslie as well, so we'll know more after that. Sensei, Pity loves this race. He's won it the last couple of years. He'll be heading there. Then we start getting into the Volpe Veloce type horses. Spoke to Richie about her. He said, look, we're going to railway, fresh up. Maybe miss the Telegraph, not certain, but maybe miss the Telegraph because the Westbury, which she won last year, is probably a better option for her. So out of all that, Enzo's lad's going for his third Telegraph in a row, and he's well suited, Emily, by the weight for age conditions that it's moved to. But again, it's a lot of moving parts to that, and Bostonians potentially a yes. Avantage more than likely a yes, but I'll just back off from that market because so much of what happens in the railway is going to depend on who turns up.
There were some pretty big names that you just threw around there, Michael, including Catalyst. And how exciting is it going to be having him up here at Ellerslie on a feature night during a Karaka Million?
Well, the Mr. Tiz is actually turning into a really good race, but the Karaka Million now has $2 million races. And there we see Harlech, who's in that live-in classic market down the outside running second. But the support racing's so strong, and there's only 6 races, and you go there and think, wow, I'm really going to see something cool tonight. But he just adds to it, and the Australians will lap it up because they love the meeting anyway. Mickey,
are they then on the way to an All-Star Mile? That's their plan?
They are. They've got 2 other options. They can go to the BDC Sprint on 2 weeks later, or they can go to a later race in Melbourne, into the Australian Guineas, into the All-Star Mile. Okay. Now, the All-Star Mile voting opens on January the 16th. We're going to keep you updated on who is going because there's 3 nominations from New Zealand. Melody Bell's going to be nominated, and we know that she'll get a lot of Australians loving her as we see her here, winning the Empire Rose at Flemington, so she'll get some love. Te Akau Shark is nominated, but I doubt they're actually going to go. I'm thinking they're more Sydney-based than Melbourne with their intention for him. So the voting for the All-Star Mile doesn't open until January the 16th. We will tell you here on Weigh In what they're intending to do with Te Akau Shark. Jamie said Sydney more likely because you get to vote, and we want you to vote for one of the New Zealanders.
And make your vote count.
Yes, make your vote count.
If Te Akau Shark's not going, don't vote for him. Make sure you vote for Catalyst or
Mickey, what's your view on Catalyst?
Well, I have ridden him. I'm the only jockey in New Zealand that's been beaten on him. So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well done, Mickey. Yeah, brilliant.
But
I'm glad I asked.
It was really nice of Rick Williams to shout lunch for us last week. A few Peronis on the side as well. So he wasn't holding anything against me. But I don't know what happened that day. But yeah, I just said I sharpened the horse up. Well,
yeah, exactly.
But he's a superstar in the making, you know, and he's an exciting horse to have racing in New Zealand. And I hope he does have a couple of runs here, and especially runs in the sprint at Te Rapa would be great. Him running against the older horses at weight for age would be great to see. So, but yeah, he's exciting. So be good to see him to race well here and go on to it and do it again in Australia as well.
One of my other favourite horses is back. Probably it was actually at Ellerslie on Thursday night. Here she is winning the Karaka Million last year. She actually came up for a ride in the truck, believe it or not.
I had this.
Sounds like a little kid, but she's come up and just had a nice little sweat and looked around Ellerslie and got used to the place again. She heads to the trials tomorrow. If you're watching this on Sunday, she heads to trials tomorrow, and then she's going to go to that race Awapuni on the 4th, which is a Saturday, first Saturday of the new year, and then the Karaka Classic, obviously for $1 million, and then she'll head back to Australia. But yeah, Jamie Richards is very, very happy with where she's at, just on Melody Bell, back in work for a couple of weeks, nice and slow, and obviously they've got their big target, the All-Star Mile, which I would suggest she'll have no problems getting into.
Pretty exciting with all these wonderful horses coming back to the race. Is going to make for a really good couple of months. We're going to get you to a break, and it's a different kind of a race, not your traditional horse race. In news this week, the next steps in the reform of the New Zealand racing industry took place this week, with Racing Minister Winston Peters tabling the Racing Industry Bill. Rita's chair and newly announced interim chief executive Dean McKenzie welcomed the new bill, which includes the gradual repeal of the betting levy and enables regulations for a point of consumption charge and betting information user charges. Submissions will now be considered on the package of reforms, which are set to replace the Racing Act of 2003. Group 1 winning mare Consensus has been purchased for $622,500 by Yulong Investments, who set an Australasian online record with their GavelHouse.com purchase. The daughter of Postponed raced across 6 seasons for 11 wins, 6 of those at stakes level, including the Group 1 Zabeel Classic at Ellerslie and the Sunline Stakes at Moonee Valley back in March. Te Akau trainer Mark Walker has claimed his 3rd Champion Singapore training title as the curtain fell on their racing season last Sunday. Walker dominated throughout the Singapore racing season, leading by 21 wins back in October, and cruised to the finish line by 8 wins from runner-up Michael Clements. 2015 New Zealand bloodstock ready-to-run sale graduate Beat the Clock beat the field in the prestigious Hong Kong sprint at Sha Tin last Sunday. It was an emotional win for trainer John Size and jockey Joe Moreira.
And the Vase Beat the Clock overhauled either Hot King Prawn and a Thero down.
Beat the Clock was sold out of the Prima Park draft for $200,000 back in 2015 and has now won 9 races and not missed the first 3 in 23 starts. And speaking of impressive form, the girls showed a clean pair of heels to their male counterparts midweek as the Mystic Girls took out the Jockeys World Cup at Ellerslie. The team of 3, including Sam Spratt and Danielle Johnson, was captained by last season's premiership-winning jockey Lisa Allpress, who dominated with 2 winners on the programme. The Mystic Girls finished on 88 points over the Blues boys on 83. Michael Guerin caught up with the victorious trio after their World Cup win.
A joke about Charlie's Angels, but I have Danielle, Sam and Lisa who took out the World Cup Jockeys Challenge for the female team. And Danielle, to be honest, Lisa carried your girls, didn't she, really?
Well, it's about time because she's had a pretty dry spell. And to be honest, Sam and I talked tactics a few days before the race day and we were hoping Lisa wasn't going to make it up on the flight.
Oh,
but she's done well and we'll keep her on.
We actually had to tell her what to do today. I had to give her instructions on how to...
turn right, turn right rather than turn left.
Go past the finishing line first.
I actually like Lisa more than you two, so I'm going to go over here because she rode my horse to win a race one day. That was pretty cool. Like, it's hard to get good rides at Ellerslie. 2 tonight, 3 bottles of champagne, and now the Jockeys World Cup winning team captain.
Yeah, no, obviously it was great to get asked to come up here, and I was a little bit dodgy on like, this is not a good idea for the rest of the girls. And yeah, so they did actually give me pep talks, and it has been, it's been a great day.
Okay, I need to ask you a really serious question. If you need to have one of your teammates riding for $1,000 for you, would you choose Sam or would you choose Danielle?
Oh no, I'd scratch them both and just ride it myself.
Yeah, okay, so the girls, Charlie's Angels here at Ellerslie, Charlie's Angels.
Some great fun there at the races at Ellerslie, and good on the girls. They got the win.
That was Lisa's first Ellerslie win in 9 years.
You said that. That's
incredible.
And
she won 2 on the night. I know you're not supposed to have favourites, and I feel bad because I really like Sam and I really like Danielle, but Lisa's my favourite.
Is she? You whispered that too.
You can't hear me? Sorry. But it was actually really cool because it was good fun. And as Lisa quite rightly said on the night, there are no female jockeys and male jockeys, there's just jockeys. And we're lucky in this country to have so many great riders of both sexes. But it was kind of cool to see them win and rub the boys' noses in it and stuff. And it was quite a fun night. It's just going to show what Mickey spoke about earlier about the crowds. Big crowd. The racing was only average, but it just had a really cool hype to it because there were so many people there having a great time. So I think Ellerslie's got a lot of things right, but their twilight meetings are bang on. They're just really cool.
And Michael, you were watching from home and you thought you rather liked the pants. Perhaps you can get the call up next year and you can don a pair of those yourself.
I love the pants, so I think they're great. I just think we should be able to wear them
out on the town
all the time. Yeah, out clubbing out of the race would be ideal.
How would you go rocking out in Cambridge on a Thursday night in those sort of pants? Would that be the done thing?
Oh, I think I'd probably stand out, but...
I think you stand anyway.
What's wrong with standing out? I thought they were great, and I thought they were better than the colours that were...
Yeah, the colours were good.
You couldn't identify the horses, and that was even hard to ride in the races and identify who's around you in those colours, but I thought the pants were great, yeah, I loved them.
A bit of fun, but also some serious stuff in that report also from the news. So the first reading of the bill went through Parliament, so there's going to be a select committee process to go through now. So a lot of people watching this at home are going to think, I don't care, that's not something that interests me. If you do care about racing and you do think there's parts of the bill which you're not going to be happy with, then you can make submissions to the Select Committee. It's quite a complicated process. We promise you we're going to have Dean McKenzie, the chair of RETA, on this show before submissions close in early February. So Dean's going to come on and we'll explain to you what it all means, because it's pretty technical stuff, and I realise that you may not care so much, but it is your industry. So if you do have something in there you're not happy about, read it. There's some advice. If you're part of a club and you're not sure how it affects your club, if you have a lawyer who's part of the club or a member of the club, these things tend to be a lot easier for lawyers to understand. So get a lawyer involved, if you can do it for free, through your club if you want to know how it's going to affect you heading forward. Because, Emily, it's pretty wordy stuff and a lot of people probably don't understand, but it is a industry-changing bill which will become part of the Racing Act.
And most importantly, we're going to be keeping everybody updated on this as we get through the rest of the season, aren't we?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I've spoken to lots of people in different areas about it, and some people, like NZTR, are a little bit annoyed about their IP, intellectual property, and that's under this bill going to be owned by the TAB, which means they can't do things which maybe they can do now. So it's really interesting. We'll keep you informed as we go along in any developments. But Dean McKenzie will come on the show and he'll speak to you at home to say this is what it means to you, and we'll make sure that we stop all the big words. Yeah.
We're counting down to that Christmas period, Michael Coleman, and what does Christmas involve for you? Because for most people it's eating huge amounts of food and drinking and a lot of family time, but it's a little bit different for jockeys, isn't it? Obviously, with you guys having to ride on Boxing Day and, of course, New Year's Day. Yeah, Christmas Day can be a bit of a nothing day for us. So, yeah, I'll have a bit of lunch with my parents and that on Christmas Day, and really we're just preparing for a big day's racing the next day. So hopefully we're in good form on Boxing Day and for the rest of the carnival.
Does Max understand what Christmas is yet?
No.
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 So
I don't
good.
think so.
You don't have to buy him a present.
No. Well, yeah, exactly. Maybe just one. Or I think he'd be pretty happy with the cardboard box, to be honest. But I did have one question for you both before we go. Horse you're most looking forward to riding during the Christmas period?
No doubt, Media Sensation. I think she's got a great chance in the railway. So. Yeah, really looking forward to being aboard here. And Michael, horse you're most looking forward to seeing over that Christmas
I've got
period?
one of each. Rio Dini on New Year's Day. I really love Rio Dini, and probably I'm looking forward to seeing her back. I think she's a genuinely top class Australian class Group 1 filly, so I'm really looking forward to seeing her back, and she'll be at the trials on Sunday. Have you got something Christmassy for me?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Now we've got a few little Christmas gifts for you, which we're gonna make Michael don.
Because this is our last Christmas show, because we're not on next Sunday. As a Christmas gift to me and Emily, we don't have to get out of bed early next Sunday.
So
can you give me the
here you
glasses? Because it'll make my nose look smaller.
And I'd like you to put this on, please.
Okay, I'll put the glasses on.
Don't be the Christmas Grinch.
I'll put
Michael
this on.
Coleman,
These are actually pretty cool.
You?
These are very Pimp Daddy. Yeah.
So the important information from weigh-in. There you go, Michael. I'm proud of you.
You look.
We had a discussion about this before the show, and we said he was 50-50 to wear them. But
I'll
good
do
on
it, Ian,
you.
because we're teammates, our little Sunday morning teammates. We're not on next Sunday.
One for the team there. You've still got the price on.
We're not on next Sunday, but I'm going to ring you next Sunday morning to see how you're getting on, because we spend every Sunday morning together now. Mate, can you give us a winner? Is there something going around that we can... This is a ridiculous conversation to have.
Go quick.
Can you see a winner coming up in the next couple of weeks?
Oh, I don't really know. I've got nothing left today. I had 6 rides. I've got 5 scratches today and 1 ride left. So
you look like an elf. You actually look like an elf.
Well, I tell you what, all the jockeys hate wearing the Santa hat, when they're on the favoured runners.
Maybe they should go to the silver version.
Yeah.
Actually, try these on. So here you go.
Oh, here we go.
You're a single man. That might help.
Oh,
brother.
You can pull those off.
That'll give me a date,
Yeah,
that'll
that
get me a
would.
date.
Look at that.
Can we end the show now before this continues for any longer?
Important information for you. Silver Stakes this afternoon from Ellerslie. 11 a.m. Friday, the 27th of December will be our next weigh-in. There'll be nothing next week. So, yeah, next show for us, 11 a.m. Friday, the 27th of December. A very Merry Christmas, and I hope you enjoy the Christmas period.
Hi everyone, it's Pete from the Racing Integrity Unit. Just wishing all our viewers a very Merry Christmas, a real Happy New Year, and I hope you have success with your punting.
To every viewer watching, Merry Christmas. Hope you make some money today, and all the best.
I just want to wish everyone at the Riverton Racecourse today a Merry Christmas and a lot of luck and a good cheer. And to my staff on the starting gates, all the best for the new year and Christmas. And we've had a great time so far this season, and may it go well.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody. Have a good time with family and enjoy the racing today. Thank you.
As a part of the ambulance crew, I'm Dave and this is Sam. We just want to wish all you trackside fans on television a very Merry Christmas. And remember, if you're drinking, don't drive, get a taxi. We don't want to see you on the side of the road. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas from Trackside.
Merry Christmas.